Now hopefully it is well past the point that comic books are believed to be purely just children's entertainment. I mean, comics have the ability to tell nearly any story in any genre and of any age. They can have a level of sophistication and complexity to rival that of any novel that is made from only words, so truly anything is possible here. But sometimes what is possible is downright gross and goes a little bit too far, I would say. So let's take a look at them, and then wish we hadn't, as I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 8 messed up comic book moments everyone wishes they could unsee. Number 8. Maxwell Lord shoots Blue Beetle in the head. Now, Maxwell Lord was an amoral businessman who was working behind the scenes to build the newly reformed Justice League into an international peacekeeping force. It was discovered that he was doing so because of a computer known as Kilgore that was controlling him, but he rebelled and helped destroy it. Max then continued to assist the Justice League International and occasionally clashed with Batman over his motives. After gaining the power of mind control, once the gene bomb was released by the Dominators, Lord was shot and fell into a coma. Dreamslayer took over Max's body and, using his power, controlled thousands and forced the JLI to lose their charter and battle each other. The Silver Sable was able to contain Dreamslayer within her mind, and when she died she took Dreamslayer with her, leading to Lord's power apparently being burned out by the experience. Now, the countdown to Infinite Crisis revealed that Maxwell Lord was a criminal mastermind who was using his time in the JLI to gather sensitive information on the metahuman community. He was also actively sabotaging the team's efforts, making them often look foolish and ineffective. Lord stole Batman's brother Eye and created an army of cyborg Omax. This led to the former JLI member Blue Beetle uncovering all of this and so confronted his former friend. Max offered Beetle the chance to join his new crusade, but when the hero refused, Lord shot him right in the head, killing him. I mean, look at that panel. Woof. Number 7. Yellowjacket and the Wasp have sex in Vegas. Now, Avengers number 71 was written by Jeff Jones and drawn by Steven Sadowski. It was, for the most part, a character-driven fill-in issue between adventures featuring divorced heroes Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne, otherwise known as Yellowjacket and the Wasp. But the book contained one page so controversial that it was actually removed from subsequent reprintings. Hank and Janet always had a tumultuous relationship. He, the work-obsessed scientist, and she, the seemingly flighty socialite, never seemed like a great match. Jan would flirt with nearly every man that she met, especially the gorgeous and muscular Thor, which played into Hank's low self-esteem and caused him to create several different heroic personas all at once, and in a fit of misplaced anger, earn himself the title of worst husband ever by slapping Jan. This led the much stronger and well-adjusted heroine to leave the relationship soon after. Hank got his life together, and on this occasion, the pair had reconciled in a Las Vegas hotel room. From outside the window, Janet was screaming, "Hank, please, no more," as inside she was writhing in bed, clutching at the bedsheets. After a satisfied moan, Jan lifted up the covers, and an Ant-Man-sized nude Pym was climbing up between her breasts. The clearly drenched Hank smiled and said, "Your turn." It was a pretty explicit scene for a mainstream comic book, even with the strategically placed shadows. Number 6. Tarantula sexually assaults Nightwing. Dick Grayson, the first Robin, had grown up and established the new heroic identity of Nightwing. To further establish his independence, he moved to Gotham's corrupt sister city of Bloodhaven and began working to clean it up. Catalina Flores was a former FBI agent also living in Bloodhaven. Inspired by the Golden Age hero and current author John Law, Catalina became the second Tarantula and began her own more brutal fight against crime and corruption. In his investigation of the murder of corrupt police commissioner Delmore Redhorn, Grayson discovered that the murderer was Flores and that she was working for the crime lord Blockbuster. Nightwing arranged for Tarantula's arrest, but because of the broken legal system in Bloodhaven, she was quickly back on the streets. Grayson and Desmond were locked in a heated battle, and Flores got involved, and over the course of the fight, she ended up killing Blockbuster. Nightwing had been driven to the absolute edge of his sanity by Blockbuster, who had discovered Dick's identity and was conducting calculated assaults on his loved ones. Grayson could have stopped Desmond's murder, but actually didn't, and after the murder, the hero had a complete breakdown on the rooftop where Tarantula took advantage of the nearly catatonic Nightwing, removed his pants, and sexually assaulted him in the rain. Number 5. Bane murders Alfred Pennyworth. Alfred Pennyworth was the butler, assistant, and all-around aide to Bruce Wayne and Batman, and a sounding board and secondary father figure to the entire Bat family. Although he was rarely called upon to engage in more physical aspects of their lives, Alfred was an integral part of the overall heroic operation, and used his many skills to aid the Bat family in more ways than can be listed. Now, young Alfred was a bit of a black sheep, but he joined the British Army at 18 and fathered a child. After discharge, he found his way to the English stage and played the Globe Theatre. Unfortunate events spurred lured him to take up his father's place as the butler in the prominent Wayne family, but thanks to shrewd investments by Lucius Fox, Alfred was a billionaire by the time that Bruce took in Dick Grayson. But the loyal Pennyworth never considered leaving his post. In 2020's City of Bane story, Bane, with the assistance of an alternate reality Thomas Wayne, took control of Gotham in Batman's absence and chased the Bat family out of the city. To ensure that they stayed away, the villainous powerhouse took Alfred hostage and threatened to kill him if any member of the family entered Gotham. But Damian Wayne believed that he could best Bane and Thomas, and so infiltrated their stronghold. But quickly captured, Robin was then forced to watch as Bane fractured Alfred's neck with his massive hands. Number 4. Ultimate Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver's relationship. Unlike her 616 counterpart, Wanda Maximoff is the biological child of Magneto. She and her brother Quicksilver were members of his Brotherhood, though Magneto was openly abusive to his son. With their mother not part of the picture, Wanda began to fill several roles in the life of Pietro, with the final one definitely being the most taboo. In Ultimate 3 number 1, the titular team of heroes is dealing with the PR issues created by the sex tape of Tony Stark and the Black Widow. In his 1940s sensibilities, Captain America suggests that the Scarlet Witch should wear some less revealing clothing in public. Quicksilver slapped his hand away and told Steve that if he touched Wanda again, Pietro would kill him. The Wasp tried to explain to Steve that they loved each other, not as siblings, but as lovers. Although Wanda was shot by a sniper at the end of issue number 1, and part of the team is in New York searching for her killer, by Ultimates number 3, the other half of the team is in the Savage Land searching for Magneto. There they discover Wolverine, who details the full incestuous relationship of the Maximoff siblings that he saw with his own eyes. Number 3. The torture of Black Canary. Black Canary and Green Arrow had moved to Seattle, Washington and opened a floral shop called Sherwood Florist, together as Dinah Lance and Oliver Queen. Dinah is the second Black Canary, a skilled fighter and possesses the devastating sonic canary cry, and she's been a valued member of the Justice League for many years. Now Dinah and Ollie were at a crossroads in their relationship. An aging Ollie was thinking of children, but Dinah knew that their lives were too dangerous to bring kids into, and thus she didn't want to create orphans. She was also intent on proving that she was able to complete investigations on her own, and so left a note for Ollie that she would be going undercover for a while to look into a drug cartel. Despite himself, Oliver can't help but check up on her. After not finding her for a while, Green Arrow looks into a skylight to see a sight that shakes him to his core. Dinah is tied up by her arms, stripped nearly naked, and bleeding profusely from numerous lacerations. Oliver put multiple arrows into her attacker, killing him before taking Dinah to the hospital. After recovering, Dinah discovers that she lost her canary cry and the ability to have children. Needless to say though, this image alone was shocking, for not just Oliver, but to the audience as well. Number 2. Blob eats the Wasp. Fred J. Dukes, the Blob, was a corpulent mutant and immovable object who long plagued nearly every iteration of the X-Men. Now mostly Fred was a bully and a thug that literally threw his weight around to get what he wanted, and this was mostly to commit petty crimes for the money and the food to fuel his copious appetite. The Blob of the Ultimate Universe though, named Franklin Dukes, is truly an eating machine in more ways than one. He ate constantly and claimed that he actually ate all of the Weapon X computers in a matter of minutes. This may suggest that his mutation included some kind of super eating power beyond that of just a healthy appetite, but there was nothing healthy about his frequent threats to eat his opponents, a threat that he made good on with a petite Avenger. During the Ultimatum catastrophe, Magneto altered the Earth's poles and created tsunamis that flooded Manhattan, killing thousands, including many of the city's heroes. Hawkeye and Yellowjacket were left to search for the Wasp, but what they found was utterly horrifying. In a sewer, the duo found the Blob holding Wasp's bloodied corpse, with the entire midsection ripped out and blood dripping from his mouth. Enraged, Hank Pym grew to giant size and bit the Blob's head off before spitting it out. And number 1, the abuse of Sue Dibney. Now there are parts of the controversial 2004 limited series Identity Crisis that many people found troubling and hard to look at, and none more so than the sexual assault of beloved supporting character Sue Dibney. She was the wife of Ralph Dibney, the elongated man, and was featured prominently in the Keith Giffen version of the Justice League. Now here Sue was on the Justice League satellite watching the stars, as she had done on many occasions. This particular night though, the villainous Dr. Arthur Light used his powers to break into the satellite and steal back one of his confiscated weapons. Finding Sue there alone, Light blinded her and sexually assaulted her from behind. The League returned to their HQ and beat Light mercilessly, with Ralph knocking him out with Hawkman's mace. As Ralph took his wife to the hospital, Zatanna wiped Light's memory of the incident so that he couldn't share it, and it was Hawkman who suggested that they alter the rogue's mind further in order to make him less of a threat. This led to the group, who were fueled by their emotions and their anger to mess with Dr. Light's memory. When the heinous act happened to Sue, she stopped being ink on paper. Instead, she immediately became every mother, daughter, sister, wife, and friend who had ever been attacked, and Light became the focus of that visceral feeling that no one wants to face themselves, that feeling that someone must pay. And there we go, my friends. Those were 8 messed up comic book moments everyone wishes that they could unsee. I won't say I hope that you enjoyed that, considering we covered some pretty dark material, but I hope that you got something from it regardless. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.